Welcome to Traveling Kangaroo. Today we're diving into what happened to the Portuguese dream. In the next 10 minutes, we'll unpack why Portugal, once a top pick for retirees, digital nomads, and families, is suddenly facing deep social and economic strains. Stay with me. This matters if you're thinking of moving, investing, or just curious about how a country loses its shine. Portugal used to be simple to love. Sun, beaches, affordable living, a relaxed pace. But fast forward to 2025 and many residents and newcomers say life has become a struggle. In this video, I'll explain the 7 core problems knocking Portugal off course, what they mean for everyday life, and what might help fix things. Let's get started. Housing is the first and biggest problem. Over the last decade, prices in Lisbon and Porto roughly doubled. Demand surged, tourists, foreign investors, and newcomers, while supply lagged. In 2024, Portugal approved around 28,000 new housing units. That sounds like progress, but construction capacity is much lower than needed. The industry reportedly needs about 90,000 more workers to meet demand. The result? Fewer new homes, higher prices, and a rental market that squeezes households. Rents in the major cities average near 1,500 euros a month. For many workers, that's half or more of their salary. Young people stay living with parents into their 30s, families get pushed to distant suburbs with long commutes, and local shopkeepers and teachers struggle to stay in neighborhoods they once called home. At the same time, foreign investment in real estate, roughly 2.5 billion euros in 2024, poured capital into the market, often targeting short-term rentals and high-end conversions, which reduces supply for locals and pushes prices higher. The second major issue is immigration and bureaucracy. Portugal once had a reputation as one of Europe's friendliest countries for immigrants, but changes since 2023 have made legal residency and work authorization unpredictable. The old immigration service, SEF, was replaced by AIMA, the Agency for Immigration, Migration, and Asylum, which has inherited a huge backlog. By early 2025, about 400,000 cases were pending. That means people wait months or even years for visas, renewals, and work permits. When your permit is stuck in limbo, you can't open a bank account, rent legally, or get steady work. Portugal also ended the expression of interest process that used to let people register an intention to stay and begin working while their residency was processed. That pathway helped many regularize their status. Without it, migrants from South Asia, Africa, and beyond find fewer legal routes to build a life. The government introduced a social golden visa, designed to attract wealthy investors by offering residency in exchange for funding affordable housing, green energy, and social projects. In theory, that channels investment toward public good. In practice, critics argue it privileges the wealthy while leaving low-income migrants and seasonal workers with, well, really few legal options. The human cost shows up in overcrowded housing, exploitation in construction and agriculture, and people living in indefinite legal limbo. The third problem is economic strain and inequality. On paper, Portugal's economy looks healthy. Tourism is booming and foreign investment is strong. But on the street, many people feel left behind. The national minimum wage rose to about 820 euros in 2025, which is still low for Western Europe. Inflation eased in 2025, but everyday costs, groceries, transport, rent, have risen faster than wages. A grocery trip that once cost 40 euros can now cost 60. That math forces families to make painful trade-offs, fewer social activities, delayed family planning, and savings that just evaporate. Job security is, honestly, pretty fragile. A large share of work is seasonal, freelance, or short-term in tourism, construction, and agriculture. Even as tech hubs and startups bloom in Lisbon and Porto, the new jobs often require specific skills many locals don't have, and wages can still fall short of the cost of living. Fourth, infrastructure fragility surfaced dramatically on April 28, 2025, when a 10-hour power blackout hit mainland Portugal and spilled into parts of Spain. The outage caught many off guard. Portugal has invested heavily in renewables, especially solar. And that's a big success story. but the grid lacked sufficient backup and flexibility when demand spiked. Hospitals, businesses, and homes were without power for hours. The blackout exposed the need for a more resilient energy mix and better grid management. It also raised questions about how a high renewable system should be engineered to handle variability and extreme demand events. Fifth, political scandal and mistrust amplified public anxiety. Accusations tying Prime Minister Montenegro and his family to real estate interests undermined faith in government impartiality. Whether the allegations are fully proven or not, the perception matters. When decisions appear to benefit a few with political connections, public trust erodes. Sixth, social tensions and rising polarization are creating new risks. Immigration and the stress on housing and jobs has become a hot political issue. Far-right groups have gained visibility by stoking fears that migrants are straining public services. Those movements haven't seized power, but their rhetoric is shifting the debate and increasing clashes between anti-immigrant groups and anti-fascist activists. Seventh, Portugal's healthcare system is under strain. The National Health Service, or SNS, remains a cornerstone of Portuguese life, offering free or low-cost care. Yet in 2025, the SNS faces staffing shortages, long waiting lists, and overcrowded facilities, especially for specialist care. Rural clinics have been shut down in some areas where staff left for better-paying work. Doctors and nurses stage strikes asking for better conditions and pay. The scramble pushes many who can afford it into private care, which is expensive and out of reach for lower-income families and many migrants. For an aging population, these health gaps are a particularly acute worry. So, what connects all these problems? Well, many of them actually feed into each other. Overheated real estate markets push up costs and worsen inequality. Immigration backlogs create a large, undocumented population that's vulnerable to exploitation. Political scandals undermine trust just when the state really needs citizen cooperation for big reforms. And infrastructure failures show the limits of rapid green transitions without careful planning. Are there pathways out? The video leaves us with a few hopeful directions, though honestly, none are easy or quick. First, housing policy needs to focus on building truly affordable homes at scale, not just high-end developments or short-term rental conversions. That means labor investments to expand the construction workforce, targeted subsidies, and zoning reforms that accelerate multifamily and social housing builds. Second, immigration reform should combine clearing backlogs with creating practical legal pathways for low-income migrants who fill essential jobs. Reintroducing streamlined registration or temporary work permits could reduce exploitation and allow migrants to participate legally in the economy. Fourth, infrastructure resilience requires a diversified energy portfolio, smarter grid management, and investment in storage and backup systems. The blackout is a wake-up call for a renewable future that's also reliable. Sixth, strengthening the SNS and staffing rural clinics will require funding and incentives for health professionals. Otherwise, long waits and closures will worsen. Portugal's story isn't over. The country still has huge strengths: a strong tourism brand, cultural richness, renewable energy leadership, and a welcoming reputation in many communities. But retaining that edge will require policies that are inclusive, transparent, and focused on ordinary residents as much as on investors. If you're thinking of moving to Portugal or investing there, here are some practical takeaways. Do your homework on housing markets region by region. Smaller towns often have different dynamics than Lisbon or Porto. If you're an immigrant planning to relocate, get legal advice early and be prepared for possible delays in processing. Consider job security and costs. Remote work can help offset local wage gaps, but local integration remains challenging. And watch political signals and infrastructure news. They matter for long-term quality of life. Before we wrap up, quick recap: soaring housing costs, construction shortfalls, immigration backlogs, low wages and energy blackout, political scandals, rising polarization, and healthcare strain are the main forces reshaping Portugal in 2025. Each one intensifies the others, and together they show why the Portuguese dream feels out of reach for many. But with the right mix of investment, reform, and accountability, recovery and renewal are possible. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Traveling Kangaroo, follow us on social media, and visit travelingkangaroo.com for more in-depth articles and updates. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Portuguese dream can be revived, or has it faded for good? Don't forget to subscribe to Traveling Kangaroo, follow us on social media, and visit travelingkangaroo.com. See you in the next video.